Hi, I'm the Now Visitor, and you are watching Trek Culture.
We just had a really good chat about Janeway Chakotay fan fiction there.
What have we learned?
That Ellie is keeping the fan fiction business going.
That's actually so not true.
Is it?
Someone has to.
Oh, you're embarrassing me now, Sean. Actually, I mean, I literally broadcast it on the internet. Who cares?
What, you broadcast your fanfic?
No, I broadcast my love for Janeway and Chakotay.
Very good. You know what? It's a big world, and there are 31 flavors of ice cream, so have at.
Ellie was telling me there, like, we popped in, we're having a look at your life. Apparently it's freezing where you are at the moment.
Well, I mean, freezing might be an overstatement, but it's freaking cold in terms of what we're used to. I mean, I have had to scrape ice off my windows in the mornings. Right now, hey Siri, what's the temperature out? It's 58 degrees. Like, I mean, now that's not chilly from like a Midwest or Dakota standpoint, but look, when we get 115 degree days here in the Valley, 58 degrees is, less than half, so it's well, maybe it's half. It's literally just half. So it's when you can see your breath in LA, that's a thing.
Yeah, I mean, when I came to LA, I was expecting sunny LA, and it rained and was cold the whole time. So
see what happens.
And when I came to LA, I went out to the Vasquez Rocks, didn't wear sun cream, and was an idiot.
You look like a tomato.
And this is the top-notch content that your viewers were hoping for.
This is literally, I'm glad you got the brief. This is exactly what we were looking for. But now that kind of, we're nearly a year on from Picard, which is insane, but we're nearly a year on. And yet, it looks like you haven't slept in a year. Like, you've been so busy with everything. How has 2023, I suppose, into 2024 been for you?
Well, 2023 was very busy. Obviously, it was a lot more talking about acting than actually acting, because of the various strikes that were occurring. So that afforded me a really lovely window to go out and do the convention circuit. And I hit it hard with both feet. I think I ended up doing like 16 conventions last year, taking me, to the lower hemisphere at one point. It was great. And there were days where I had to check what airport I was in because it all became a bit of a blur. And then it is a management of one's spoons, as they say. They're by the time I kind of stumbled across the finish line of 2023, I was exhausted. I was exhausted physically, just bereft of any hitch in my get along. But all that being said, an embarrassment of riches. Like, it was so wonderful, and people were so kind, and even when we couldn't, talk about it, we still managed to, as we say, especially on the cruise, it's like the convention is yours. We're just the entertainment. We managed to still say, still entertain, right? Like, we managed to still find things to talk about and find things to engage with, and discuss uncommon topics about our life and careers, that as opposed to what was it like working with Patrick, which is the shortest answer in the world. It was great. Like, the questions were far more off center, and in a great way, so that it pushed us into instead of singing the greatest hits, which is often what we end up doing from con to con to con, where we tell a lot of the same stories. it opened up areas of conversation that were, and it gave us an opportunity to talk about labor issues and unions and the importance of valuing artists and story and a lot of other things. So from that standpoint, it was grand, but it was busy. It was very busy. And then I also, do other things in the middle of all of that, touring the country and or world.
So you've been very, very busy.
Windy answer to a simple question.
No, that's absolutely fine. But actually, I feel like probably a lot of the things you've been asked about in the last year is Star Trek. But as people might know, there's another show that you did that, myself and by my persuasion, Sean, are absolutely love. 12 Monkeys. What I find really interesting is actually if you compare your character in Star Trek and your character in 12 Monkeys, there's actually a lot of similarities between the characters. They kind of start off as characters that you love to hate, but by the end, you just love them.
That seems to be a wheelhouse that I have been thrust into, and primarily Terry is obviously the motivating creative force behind both of those characters' arcs. It is something that I think speaks to my skill set as an actor, is trying to thread the needle of dipshit douchebag. My job is to make a character compelling. My job is to make a character interesting, and you want to understand and know their story. So, and I've said this often. When I find a character who is dark, I try to find the funny. When a character is funny, I try to find the darkness. And between both Deacon and Shaw, there was a lot of darkness. So if you find the funny, it kind of keeps people going. It keeps people from immediately dismissing you, because they go, well, there's something else to see here. There's something else about this guy that we're seeing, as opposed to just writing them off as a villain. And by the way, Shaw was right. The geezers were trying to steal his ship. So without all the information, and look, they were told not to give me the information. So Beverly said, don't trust Starfleet. So they weren't trusting me, and that's so fine. But when it comes down to it, when people show up on your ship and say, hey, we want it, without any direct orders, my job, especially to those cowboys, is to say no. And with Deacon, he was introduced as a straight up antagonist. And I think what we discovered along the way, and the testament to the writers and the directors that gave me the space to do my chicanery, I think they saw more to do with this guy. He was never intended, or to my knowledge, he was never intended to be more than a season 1 villain and possibly a season 2 villain. But then Terry sat me down. I was eating breakfast at this place in Toronto, filming. It was like December of 2015. And we were filming the final episodes of season 1, and Terry sits down and he goes, I got so many ideas for Deacon for season 2. And I was like, well, it's pilot season, my friend. So my job is to get a steady job, and I don't know if I'll be available. And Terry Metalis picked up his phone, texted casting right there at the table, and said, make Todd a series regular. Make him an offer as a series regular. And that happened this doesn't happen in the same way that a guy calling you up and saying, I'm giving you the role of a Starfleet captain. That doesn't happen. It's a testament to Terry and his belief in people's skills and what they have to offer. And then he's like, I see Deacon as a sociopathic Han Solo. In order for this show to have legs, it can't just be the Cassie Cole show. It has to be an ensemble. We need bigger stories to follow to flesh out this crew, the Spike, if you will, of Buffy. and then see what happens. And and it all worked out to what I believe is great effect. And it also gave me the opportunity to play one of the most profound arcs in sci-fi television, I think, going from literally cutting into Cole's chest to spoiler alert, losing my head. Like that is an arc, and an unbelievable one. And then the relationship with Jennifer that Deacon developed, this sort of older brother, younger sister relationship that they developed. A lot of people want to push it into Deakifer, but I was like, that was never it was never. He was very fraternal with her. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's one of those shows that I think deserves a wider audience than it got. It's getting one. It's starting to, years after it's done. It's starting to catch on, I think, in many ways because of Picard. But it really, and I don't say this because I was on it. I say it as look where I live. I say this as a bona fide fan. It's some of the best science fiction television ever made, hands down. I mean, it treats time in a way that has never been treated in time travel stories. The characters are compelling. It's funny, it's scary, it's harrowing, it's romantic, it's all the things, all the pop culture references. It's just damn fine TV. 12 Monkeys is Star Trek. Jones is the captain. The time machine is the bridge, the room, and we are the crew. And instead of away missions to planets, it's away missions to time periods.
If that is not a reason for people who haven't seen it to watch it, I don't know what is. If you watch it, it is structurally Star Trek. And Terry knew that. Terry comes from Star Trek. This is his thing. And so when doing this, he loves that structure, that the head honcho, science fiction, calls us all together in there's a ready room. It's a Trek show. Not an Easter egg, but it's like you see Terry's love of Trek bleed over, and then his love of 12 Monkeys then bleed back. So was the role of Shaw written for you?
Yeah, humblingly, yeah. He called me up, and I've told this story many times, but he called me up and said, we have a part for you as a Starfleet captain, and my joke is that I can't wait to get to see who plays it, because it never works out that way. Once studios and networks and get involved, they have deals with people, and it's going to go to somebody else. He's like, no, sit tight. Because I guess he'd been calling the character Captain Stashwick in the writer's room as they were developing it. So he knew the flavor of this guy that he was going to have be the fly in the ointment of these legacy characters before I was, fitted for my uniform.
And because I presume, I might be wrong, but I presume for Picard, you probably get the guts of the series in one go, because it's obviously shorter, it's one season, it's kind of a self-contained story. So did you even need to ask the questions do I make it to the last episode, or are you just going to kill me?
I think he kept me in suspense. And in many ways, that's a good thing for an actor, because you don't want, the characters never know when they're going to die. And so as an actor, I need to be present for each episode without ever subconsciously setting up your own demise. You know what I mean? I think once we came time to getting closer to the shooting, it became clear that was where this was going. I think the Schrodinger's cat for me as an actor was probably the best approach.
Because I think I got that in Shaw's last moment. I got a kind of a surprise and a bit of a pissed off. I was nearly on the shuttle. Like what? Shoot 7. Don't know. We like her, but
well, look, a lot of people have kindly said they shouldn't have killed you. They shouldn't have killed you. I'm like, well, that's Well, that was a sign of good writing, and I'm grateful that my work resonated with you. That you thought this character should have gotten on the shuttle. But the poetry, the karmic poetry of a man who didn't understand why me, why do I get to live, when other people died at the hands of the Borg. He got to pay that debt. We got to understand why him, because, defeating the Borg once and for all, his sacrifice, being the shield that allowed them to get on the shuttle. And the show's called Picard, it's not called Shaw, so they got to get on the shuttle. I think that karmic circle, the rhymingness of that, it was a complete circuit then. And it's kind of beautiful. So I get it, as much as it would have been great to have Shaw step onto the bridge of the Enterprise D, although I don't think he would have wanted to.
Thematically, I get that.
Yeah, I don't think he would have been real happy there. I mean, obviously happy to shoot Borg out of the sky, but his place wasn't there. His place wasn't there. His place was to die on his ship, to be the last captain of the Titan.
Thing is, it's Star Trek as well, so even if your character dies, you can still come back somehow.
Yeah, I'm Spock dead.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no.
I'm Data dead. I'm Picard dead. Like I'm as dead as the plot requires.
I was gonna say, within seconds of the episode airing, I think people are saying we've got like 5 different ideas right now where he could come back next week. In the last episode, we could bring him back.
And you did bring me back in the last episode.
Exactly.
Yes, they did. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember sitting there watching it, thinking that man knows how to write a contract. Yeah. Yeah. It's like, we're going to kill you in episode 9. I'm going to be in the last one. But you die. No.
You'll see me.
Yeah.
You'll see me.
Anyone who's been near the internet in the last year knows that there's just been so many calls for it. We need a sequel. We need a legacy. And I'm pretty sure you've been asked time and time again, would you come back? Would you come back? How would you like to?
Frequently. As a series regular. You know what? I don't want to speculate on how Shaw would return. I leave that up to better minds than mine, in terms of those writers know how to write Trek. So I would trust that they would find a way that doesn't feel cheap, that doesn't feel shoehorny, that doesn't feel shoehorny. That's a fetish. Shoehorned. I trust that they would come up with a way. What I would like is to, if I came back, I would like to make sure that we retain the things that work for him, the things about the character. He's not an easy man, and I wouldn't want him to be easy. I wouldn't want him to just be comedic, a foil. I would also want to find out more, what new things about this guy could we discover? What else is out there? Because that arc was so complete. We learned about a big chunk of his past, and we learned about we saw his arc, which I hesitate to say a redemption arc, because I don't think he required redemption. He required growth. He needed to grow as a human being, but I don't think he was redeemed. A lot of people call it his redemption arc. I'm like, he was right. He was always going to defend people. He was always going to save the greater good. He was always going to try to keep his crew alive and stick up for Starfleet. And just like when he found out that Jack was officially the son of an admiral, yes, I will put ours in harm's way to save a member of Starfleet. So the redemption, and this is people are going to disagree with me, but that's the beautiful thing about art. Only one of us is right. His growth as a man, I think that was beautiful and complete, with all of his shortcomings and flaws, which is what makes people interesting. I don't want a character to ever be just one thing, but I would like to, if we came back with Legacy, I'd like to see new colors, new layers, new wrinkles, new flaws. How else is he wrong?
I mean, that growth in the character, I think, was reflected in the audience response to the character. I mean, in week 1, everyone took to Twitter like, "Oh, I can't stand this character," and as I said, by the end of it, everyone was like, "I can't believe they killed him."
But not everyone. There were some people that no, he was right, and there were some people who even at the end went, "I still don't like him." So that's that, and again, that's 31 flavors of ice cream. There's people bring to art their own experience, and they look at it through that lens, and whoever you are, you can't divorce yourself from your own truths. So stuff works for some people, it doesn't work for other people based on that, and you can't please everybody, and you just try to make a thing that is truthful and that is entertaining.
That's for sure. I remember long time ago, I was in class and saying, "You can't please everyone. Don't try.
Don't try.
When you try, it's going to kill the story.
Make your thing. Make your thing."
Plus, I mean, I've got an easy way to bring him back, and bring him back alive as well. He's got a Romulan ancestor, so there's surely going to be Catra stuff going on. Let's be fine. And we know now from Lower Decks as well that the Ferengi are hawking Genesis torpedoes, so that's fine. Just, you're going to be oh my God, I've just given a massive spoiler for Legacy, haven't I? Oh no.
Look, I've said it before. They have my sword. So whatever way they choose to bring this dipshit back, great. First, we would need a show to do that on, which we do not have. So,
yeah.
Here we are.
We're trying.
And I'm so humbled by everyone's energy and efforts and passion behind getting Legacy to be a reality. So thank you, all of you people out there. It is really. It touches each and every one of the cast and writers that y'all want to see more of this era of Trek with these people. It's really moving. So thank you. And stranger things have happened.
Strange New Worlds came from fan demand. So we have not only do we have precedent in Star Trek. So
I think, but I also think there was something about a letter writing campaign for the original series as well. Yep. A woman spearheaded a letter writing campaign to keep that show going. So there's a story in history of the fans, looking at the menu and saying, "I'd like to order this, please."
I mean, look at Prodigy. Prodigy as an example recently.
Yeah. I don't think it's out of the question. Obviously, it's just I haven't heard anything. Like it's not like that we're all on holding contracts, and they have to make the best Starfleet Academy and the best Section 31 products that were already in the pipeline that had contracts before I think they can expand into other areas. So. I want all Trek to succeed. I want there to be as much Trek as there can be, and keep the quality up. Like, I think that's the goal, right? Is to make sure that Section 31 is great and succeeds. Make sure that Starfleet Academy is great and succeeds. And Tawny is writing on Starfleet Academy, and it's going to be wonderful. I'm excited for all of it, and I would be excited if we got a show too. That would be amazing. Not all things for all people, right? So this Star Trek might work for you, and this one might not, and this one works for you, and this one might not, and there's room for all of it for your Trek. It's I always say, people go, "What's the best Trek series?" And I always say the one you like the most is the best one. That's the best one. So if Picard doesn't work for you, great. Maybe Lower Decks does, or maybe Discovery does. If Discovery doesn't work for you, great. Maybe Strange New World does. And it doesn't have to all be for everybody. There are different voices that are raised in each show. Each show has a different writing staff with different points of view, and it's all going to be done to the best of their ability. And so, it's all there for us. And so yeah, let's make a legacy. I'd love that.
100% true. I mean, even amongst us, we have debates about Star Trek and things like that. But as you said earlier, I think that's the secret to Star Trek's success. There is something for everyone. And I think that's why it is still going strong after all these years.
What I love, was it maybe Robert Meyer Burnett, who does a lot of Trek posting and whatnot. He said, Star Trek doesn't tell you what to think, it asks you to think. And I find that beautiful. Like, Star Trek at its best doesn't tell you what to think. It just asks you to think. And I think that's great.
Loads more I want to ask you. Nerd Circus, and really the devil inside. Sorry, as I was doing my research for this, and I was like, you're writing comics, man, and you've got all your merch store and everything. This is amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, the Nerd Circus was a project that I started during lockdown, Idle Hands and all that. And then the cocktail book, Mystic Libations. I wanted to be able to, again, I'm a kid of the late 70s, early 80s. That's when my nerddom really began when I was 6 and I got my first Kirk and Spock action figures in 74. That's when I knew I loved living in imagined worlds. And 77 is probably a lightning bolt year in that you had Star Wars, you had you had Lord of the Rings, the animated Lord of the Rings, or not Lord of the Rings. You had Rankin and Bass Hobbit, you had Star Wars, you had Atari, and you had Dungeons and Dragons. Like 77 was, and then Styx and Zeppelin and all of that great prog stuff. So that era is very near and dear to my heart. So I like to share my nerdiness through that lens, and Nerd Circus, even the iconography of it is very rock poster from the late 70s, the logo and everything. I wanted to feel like a little prog rock poster. And so I sell a lot of nerdy merch. I sell t-shirts, I sell dice, I sell dice boxes, I sell glasses. I was selling Mystic Libations. I'm currently sold out of that, but you can get it at traderbrandon.com. I have another project, a fantasy project coming up later this year, which is my Progcore fantasy project. I call Progcore is that era of fantasy, that sinister synth, Bakshi's Lord of the Rings, Excalibur, Dragon Slayer, Legend. That era of fantasy is it's like Tolkien, but on weed. Like, it all kind of comes from this, and like bands like Yes and Rush and Zeppelin and these. I mean, Zeppelin wrote songs about hobbits. So that era of fantasy means a lot to me, and I wanted to find a way to express that through a project. So I'm working on a Progcore project that I will be probably backer kitting or kickstarting later this year with some tremendous artists and musicians and a bunch of different stuff for the gamer and you as well. But we want to make it broad enough with a lot of cool things that you don't have to just play D&D to appreciate it. It's going to be something really special and something really cool, and we're in the process of assembling that now, and that's all I'll say about that. This is actually a t-shirt designed by Julia Madalena, who does a lot of art for me. This is Skull Riders of the Last City, The Dark Age of Thir, which is my little fantasy realm that I write in. And the game that I did with Mika and Tawny and Jack was set in the Dark Age of Thir. It was sort of the first Progcore game. And I'm digging into that deeper as I go. And so we made this t-shirt, and this is on the Nerd Circus. You can get this right now.
I really like it.
That's cool, right? It sort of feels really like a rock poster or an album cover. It's got a really great late 70s vibe to it. There's kind of an arcane sinisterness to the fantasy of that, like a lot of shadow and a lot of mystery attached to it, and wonder, and I really have a lot of affection for that. If you haven't watched Wizards or Bakshi's Lord of the Rings or the Rankin and Bass Hobbit or Dragon Slayer or Legend, like, pursue. Well, go to the Nerd Circus now and check out some of my stuff and play D&D with your friends. Ellie.
Oh, okay. I'm being told.
Yeah. We will check back in a while, and we'll see. I can't point to if I have played D&D, but I haven't played it very much, so I'm not going to point fingers too much. Don't worry. I do have some really nice dice, though. I will say that. I do like collecting dice.
You're off to a good start.
I have. This is all some of my dice here. Oh, that looks familiar.
Oh,
Gotta be Granny. Hang on.
It's the bell.
Oh, yeah, it is. It's the bell.
It's the bell.
It's the
Right
bell.
there.
Yeah.
there we go. Okay.
And it's
Yeah, look, I even put my
yes,
I
that
even
one.
put my little
Hey,
12
I should have put
monkeys.
on my own glasses there. That one actually took me so much longer than it should have to get. I'm so sorry.
It's filled with dice.
It's filled with
Of course it is. I'm just feeling that was filled with dice during filming. Like,
I think. And I have the witnesses back there.
okay, that's sweet.
That would really creep me out, though. I think if I was sitting
Holding
there and
the
just
word of the witness,
looked
and
up.
then there's my West 7 flag and my Deacon jacket, and my chair back.
I love it all. I love it all. We were just saying beforehand because I was very kindly sent this from Terry. The
Oh, the
one of
Titan, the
yeah,
penis man. You're wearing the penis man. Yeah.
yeah, I have that. Wow, such a wide variety of topics.
That changes the way I'm going to look at that. Sorry.
Yeah, maybe I should just put it
I mean,
back.
but that's the show. Like she even calls it that. Like Jennifer calls it the penis man,
Oh wow, wow,
which
wow,
is so
wow.
funny. I didn't make that up. That's from the show.
That is from the show. Did you watch it, Sean?
I'm pretty sure I've watched at least 8 of the monkeys. At least 8 of them, if not 9. You know, well, sort of on that. Todd, thank you so much. You are a gentleman and a scholar.
Enjoy yourself. It's
Thank you so
almost
much.
11:30. This has been a nice chonky conversation.
You're
Live
a gent.
long and prosper.
Avoid death and cower.
Oh my god, do it
Indeed.
too. Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Todd, mate.
All
Have
right,
a
friends.
great day. Thank you again.
Cheers. Bye.
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 Thank you so much for watching this abbreviated version of this podcast. Now, if you go to our audio platforms, you will get the full version of this podcast with this guest. So we really, really appreciate you subscribing to that. And you're just awesome and wonderful. Thank you so much.